Hello, dear friends. This is Kardec Radio at 11 p.m. and we are here studying Harvest of Light. Ceifa de Luz in Portuguese by the Spirit Emmanuel through Chico Xavier. We're learning about life and it's about illumination, it's about inner harmony, it's about our connection with God. In this book, if we could summarize it all, Emmanuel is calibrating us to put God at the center of our universe, literally inside of us. And in this very book, we have a preface, which is a prayer for light, says Emmanuel, followed by 65 chapters. It begins with the charity of understanding. And throughout the book, Emmanuel repeats understanding, 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 understanding. And today, final chapter, huh? It's the season finale, chapter 65, Evolution and Happiness. And Emmanuel invites us to another level of understanding in itself. One of the main highlights is do not fall in love with progress without love. This was written in 1972, published in 1979, and to date, science is vouching for exactly what he's saying. We have enough evidence to say that technology, the cognitive, the intellect, without affection, without love, without relationships, doesn't go anywhere, right? So, welcome friends. I see many friends joining us here. Welcome, welcome. And we also have our friend Carol Correa here with us. Yay!
Hello, everyone.
Hey, thank you, Carol.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Carol is joining us so we can study together. So, don't forget, the Master Jesus is our focus. This book would never come about were it not for the legacy of Jesus Christ. We know it. So much so that Emmanuel begins this chapter 65, Evolution and Happiness. He begins by quoting Paul in 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 8. For we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. Is he talking about fake news? No, I think he's talking about much more than that. And he says, you did not expect that the spectacular expressions on earth, would mark your process of human experience. And often, we ourselves point out the disparity between the victories of reasoning and the conquests of the sentiment. Philosophers lament the distances between science and love. Still, above our points of view, previously expanded, we are forced to consider that the dominions of one and the other are very different. Where are electrocardiographs capable of measuring the degree of parental dedication to children? Where are computers that translate into number and specification the illnesses brought by hatred? How can we find machines that can stop war and delinquency between peoples? In what prodigious supermarket do we acquire exhausts for the passions which on earth as incarnate so often devour our souls, inclining us to madness and suicide? And where where can we finally find the gears that keep us in the world with serenity and balance, frustrating our tears when we squeeze in vain between ours the fainting hands of the beloved individuals who depart from us on the journey of death before ourselves. Do not fall in love with progress without love. Why should you tread for months and months a desert made of gold nuggets without the blessing from the fountain, or dwell in a palace without light? Attend to the evolution that perfects life, but cultivate faith, patience, humility, and understanding that alleviates the spirit, because there is no happiness without love, and there is no love without responsibility, without the loss of God. Emmanuel, right, Carol?
Right.
Okay, let me just change a little bit the disposition of the camera so we can keep both of us together here. Okay, let us do this. Jesus won't mind because he knows he's in our hearts.
Most definitely.
Right?
Oh, yes.
But here we have Emmanuel. He talks about evolution, happiness, and he quotes Paul when he talks about the truth. So it's evolution, happiness, truth. And he repeats love time and again. These four words: evolution, happiness, truth, and love. Evolution, happiness, truth, and love. We need to keep them all in the same equation, he's telling us. But he begins almost like in a very realistic way. He begins his interpretation by saying, you did not expect the spectacular expressions on earth that marked your life, right? He's talking about the good and the bad, and he's talking about the two wings of life. What is one of the wings? It's reasoning, and the other, feeling. So beautiful. When we study the science of the brain, for the longest time, thanks to Descartes, who said, I think there I am, people always researched on the cognitive, forgetting about the feelings. But then currently neuroscience proves to us that we're feeling beings, though many people dispute it and don't even know what to do with their feelings, right? So we agree that there is an abyss nowadays in our understanding of what we process and what we feel. We're still far apart. And what we're seeing in the world is a consequence of this mismatch. We need to accept ourselves holistically as a whole. We feel, and what do we do with feelings? You see, if at work you're going through a difficult phase and you cry, you can't cry more than once, or you are emotional. Right, Carol?
Right.
Right?
That is so true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we are still learning to respond to our feelings. We are quick at labeling them, but not necessarily accepting them as part of who we are. And Jesus was the first
Mm-hmm.
master to be incarnated on earth to validate feelings and put feelings at the center stage. This is why he said, love one another. Love God, obviously, and then love one another. It was unprecedented for a prophet to say, to author the word love and put it at center stage and say that we shall abide by it under all circumstances.
And not justice, right?
And not justice, because
Mhm.
the previous educators that God sent to the earth put justice at the center stage, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. But Jesus chose and personified the pathway of love. And Emmanuel, as a good student of Jesus,
Mhm.
is bringing the message back again and again and again
Mhm.
to us.
Exactly. So it's interesting that Emmanuel asks the questions. Where are instruments that can measure the education of a parent? This was 1972, but to date, our society is being so much tested in our core values that if you dedicate yourself too much as a parent, you're considered a tiger parent,
Right.
helicopter parent, and people think it's beautiful if you trust whomever and
Right.
put your child in the hands of whomever. And I say this because we have a child who is 4 years old, and we are shocked to see the current status of our society. When mothers think that it's beautiful to go to work immediately and leave their children with whomever. I'm so sorry, but Spiritism does not vouch for that. Mm-mm-mm. The teachers in the preschools, in the child care, they do not love your children like you should. But of course, when we don't love them, our love versus somebody else's love is equal, right?
Mhm.
So then we understand when many wash their hands and give their babies to somebody else to take care of. I'm not being dramatic, I'm being truthful. As Paul said to the Corinthians, we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth, and this is for the truth.
Mhm.
And no wonder, as a psychologist, I see daily cases in which people they have problems in their adulthood thanks to that lack of loving investment. So today, Emmanuel is talking about the investment of love in our lives. How much love are we investing? Hmm? How much are we investing in our own health? Because he's saying here, where the computers they can measure how much hatred can affect our bodies, our health. So there is a consequence, and that's emotional intelligence. Whatever I feel, I can feel, but there are consequences. And Emmanuel is saying there is not enough science yet to point to several of these directions. True. For example, where is a an apparatus that can show the passions, huh? He
Yeah.
says, that make us go mad, crazy, and even drive us to suicide, he says. Science has not made anything yet. Do we appreciate science? Yes, we do. But that's why he says, do not. But think about this. This is Emmanuel. This is not Vanessa, Carol. It's Emmanuel. Do not fall in love with science without love. What is the point of knowing science if it doesn't change the way we approach the human being? Hmm? I remember interviewing several researchers through Kardec Radio, and one in particular who researches uh, reincarnation. beautiful studies, proving to us that reincarnation is a fact. Dr. Jim Tucker, continuing the legacy of Ian Stevenson. We take our hats to him and the whole company. But there is a limitation. When we asked, what's next? Once we know this happens, what are the consequences of it all? Shouldn't it change the way we live? Shouldn't science then recommend? We cannot go there. That was the answer. It's not on us. That's why Kardec is the one, the researcher of the future, still of the future. He wrote the books 161 years ago. And yet Kardec is so ahead of us that there is no researcher that tops him. Because he said, no, no, no. I cannot keep this only a cold scientific fact. No, no. This changes the way I am, my relationships. And he has to outline new guidelines for our lives. There are moral consequences, right?
That's
Carol?
where love comes in. It's reason and love. So this is why we know that this is the pathway, the promised consoler by Christ Jesus. Why? Because we know that as immortal spirits, the way we go up, spiritually speaking, is through the two wings that you mentioned before. And Spiritism is the only science that has it. Science, discernment with love, moral conduct. Beautiful, beautiful parallel and perfect balance. This is progress with love. We are blessed because Spiritism is progress with love. Thanks to Jesus, God, obviously, and Kardec, that was brave to still be a scientist, but one that wasn't afraid to codify what he learned with love.
The question for us is, as spiritists, or the ones who study spiritism, are we in love with progress, with our love? Because many of us read these books and are enchanted with the advancement of the spiritist science. The question is, do we have love in our hearts? Are we applying it? Or are we daring to create plots against people? Repeating the mistakes that we did at the church time? Are we like that? Then we are in love with progress, but without love. And Emmanuel is saying, do not do that. Why does he say this? Because he says, he compares. What is the point of being in the desert? No love. With a lot of gold. No love. What is it that we have all these books if that doesn't make me happier, hopeful, more dignified, honest, sincere? Recently, the Spirit said, no lie is a big lie, a small lie, it's a lie. How do we want to be in connection with the spirits that are more advanced if we lie? If we create plots against people? If we gossip? If we make people feel aside? Make them feel isolated? Bully them, indifferent, or using people? We cannot repeat the mistakes we've done in the past. And he says, what's the point of being in a palace without light? Oh, I have a position, a palace, but no love, no true friends, only people who are blind like you, who believe in this mirage of passing titles, passing positions. When we go to Jesus' time, we've come to know that socially he was nothing. He had no title, no money, no socioeconomic impact. He was nobody. There were people who had positions, titles, power, everything. They thought they were bigger than Jesus. Who are they? We don't know. Who is Jesus? Him we know. It doesn't matter the title, the position. It matters what we do with our lives. Chico Xavier was just the same. Many people passed by Chico and undermined him, saying, ah, who is Chico? Chico is nothing. Recently, in 2012, 6 years ago, I remember traveling to Brazil and some spirit is telling, Divaldo Franco is too old. I think he should retire. I don't think he should be traveling. And I tell you this, Divaldo continues traveling, helping. And you know where these people are? Nowhere. Nowhere. It didn't take another lifetime. And this is how the human mind, in its ignorance, doesn't see clearly. Right? Exactly, Adele. We're living a very challenging time in which we need to be in love with the spiritist science as well, but feel the love for one another. I see people who create adversaries, they combat people, they create plots against people being spiritists. That doesn't make any sense. And that is critical for us. That is very critical. People who are aiming at building careers in Spiritism want to be the president of a Spiritist center, the president of a local association, the president of a federation, and then the Secretary General of the International Spiritist Council. That's their dream. What dream is this, my friend? Spiritism does not have hierarchy. Spiritism, says Kardec, is about the real deal. It's what Jesus did. So that is eye-opener. People who are doing events without love. If we gather together to discuss the Spiritist science, but we do not open a door for fraternal counseling or for the pastors, for people who come to that event, what event is this? It's not a Spiritist event. If we're not open to alleviate, as he says here, attend to the evolution that perfects life. Of course, we need to be progressives. Of course, all of us, we are all made for progress, right? That perfects life. Remember, the seed and the tree. The seed is perfect, but it's going to be perfecting itself to become a tree. But nothing lacks to the seed. The seed has everything. And the tree, the young tree, is no less than a mature tree. It's just a different stage, but perfect in itself, but attending to the progress of life. And so are we. We need to attend to our progress. Today, I want to be better than yesterday. Today, I want to be better than yesterday. Better blessing the past, not cursing the past. Because many people, they feel like, thank God I'm no longer this way. But to be here, you had to go through that pathway. It's okay. I bless those choices because in any event, they brought me to this moment. But now I am choosing more consciously. And he says, but you're going to progress. Don't worry about it. Cultivate. Now it's about labor, work. Cultivate faith, trust in God, in your divine nature, in the divine nature of others. Patience. Huh? Take it easy. Right, Karen?
Right, exactly.
Take it easy. We're going to get there. I know parents who see their children not getting there and they start saying, you're never going to go places. You're never going to amount to anything. And they're just one, Mama Mia. And there are parents who are desperate because their children do not display anything overnight. But the flower, the tree, the dogs, the cats, everything in nature is gradual. We need to take time. And he says, humility, because without God, we cannot do anything. Humility is about God ahead of us. Nothing is ours. Everything comes from God and is driven to God. And understanding. He talks about understanding all
In
the time.
every chapter.
Right?
Yes.
Literally. If there is a quiz today, what is the word that Emmanuel repeats in every chapter? Understanding.
Yes.
Besides Jesus and God,
Of
etc.
course.
Right?
Yeah.
But a guideline that he repeats from the prayer for light in every single chapter. Understanding, understanding, understand. But understanding does not mean that we are going to keep things as they are. No, he means understanding as seeking the good.
It's the bridge between reason and love. We use reason to boost our understanding so we can seek the good in the other person and in ourselves and re-signify an event that is part of our present. Yes. So if we feel that something is quote unquote bad, we can use our understanding, discernment to find the good, and in finding the good, we find love in it. So it's the bridge. Reason, love, progress, love, understanding. That's how we connect both.
Exactly. Understanding as the bridge of reasoning and love. Right? Love is everything. But love is not about accepting the wrong. It's about understanding, but accepting the true. We cannot in our lives play like a group of addicted friends. I see this often in groups of addiction. They say, Oh, but we're like a family that is destroying, toxic to one another because you're friends in addiction. We want to be friends in blessings, in constructions, not in destruction. When I see addicted people coming and saying, oh, but I found the family that I don't have in the groups of addiction. I said, that's not an excuse, okay? Because the bonds of destruction are there. You want a relationship that is healthy, that is not destructive. Being friends and dying together, committing suicide together is not friendship. And there are people who do this in Spiritism, in the Spiritist doctrine, in the movement. They are together to destroy others, to put down. That is destruction. It's not love. We cannot use Spiritism to be against people. Emmanuel is telling us there is no happiness without love. No happiness. And there is no love without responsibility outside the laws of God. So, responsibility, love, happiness. We cannot believe that to love we need a title. I have my titles as a scientist, psychologist. That doesn't make me love anybody more. I assure you that. I did all these courses and it didn't make me love more. It was a choice that I made consciously. I want to love more. None of the courses taught me about love. It's not in the curriculum. Was it in your curriculum
No,
when you got your PhD?
no, I
Carol?
also have a PhD
Yeah.
and there was nothing
About
regarding
love,
love at
right?
all.
At all,
Mm-mm.
right?
At all. No emotional intelligence at all
At all,
whatsoever.
exactly. So, Spiritism certainly brings us this understanding that alleviates the spirit. Do you want happiness? Me too. You too, right?
Oh,
We all want happiness. But we want happiness that elevates everybody, that does not create dissension in a family, in a community, in a country. I see many politics coming nowadays in the world. Politicians who put themselves forward at the price of putting somebody down. And I see many people doing this in their daily lives. They believe that to be promoted at work, they need to put somebody down. And then you are promoted at the cost of somebody's bad image. Do we need this? Can't we just shine without overshadowing anyone? When God sent Jesus to us, He didn't send Jesus. He did not send Jesus to overshadow us. Do you feel overshadowed by God? Do you?
no.
By Jesus?
I feel loved.
You feel loved. So Jesus is our model in shining our light. He shined his light brightly, but none of us felt or feel that he's overshadowing us. So let us rest assured that to find happiness, we need to fight for everybody's happiness. That is love. Like today, we've come to know that two people got the Peace Prize.
Mm.
And I forgot their names, but one of them is a 25-year-old woman
Wow.
who was kidnapped by the Islamic State. She was raped, etc., and then she freed herself and started fighting for the rights of girls who were kidnapped and raped. And then another man who teamed up, etc. So the story is beautiful and is showing to us we are going to go places when we fight for everybody's happiness. We cannot keep this to ourselves. I know people who read these books and say, Vanessa, I read them and I'm fine at home. I'm happy. No, nobody can't. You need to multiply wherever you are. Right? Adilson is saying, through time, we'll love one another without frontiers. Right now, we're staging these higher feelings as babies in need of constant guidance and care. And that's okay, Adilson. I agree with you. And that's why Emmanuel comes to us to share this guidance, right, with us. But he's saying, come on, do not fall in love with progress without love. Enough is enough. We've done this for too many
Many
lives,
times,
right?
yes.
And you read the book 2000 years ago by Emmanuel, and you see clearly how the love for progress and science was already there.
And he's speaking from experience
And he's
because
exactly
he embodied that love for progress without love in that lifetime.
in that.
And then in the lifetime afterwards, 50 years later, he started to love progress with love. And we can see the tremendous shift in his heart.
Exactly. Carol is right.
Yeah.
Jesus sent Emmanuel to us to tell us about this because he knows it.
He
Thank
experienced
you.
it.
He experienced it in his own skin,
Yeah.
his own mistakes, when he thought that being a senator was more than Jesus himself. And I see nowadays politicians who dare to say that they're gonna put
I have
down.
to laugh on that one.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Right? Yeah.
It's
I've
so
read about this recently,
outrageous.
and we
Yeah.
need to talk about
Yeah,
this here
go
at
ahead.
Cardiac Radio.
Mhm.
If a politician dares to say that they are gonna be bigger than Jesus Christ, these people are insane. They are insane.
Mhm.
We need to pray for them, but please don't vote for them if you know who they are. Adilson is kindly helping us. Thank you, Adilson. 2018 Nobel Peace Prize awarded to Yazdi activist and Congolese doctor. Thank you so much, Adilson. And God bless their hearts and the victory of protecting women.
Yeah.
I know many people around the world that are fighting many causes for the homosexuals, the transgender, this and that. But you want to simplify and help all the causes?
Helpful.
Help women. Because the day we respect the vessel of life, women, we are going to respect everybody else. It doesn't come on the reverse. People need to respect women because they represent the venue through which life comes to life.
Mhm.
So, thank God, Adilson is kindly posting here the link of the New York Times, and we really need to take action. People like this, we need to do our part wherever we are, without frontiers, as Adilson says. So, attend to the evolution that perfects life. But what do we need to cultivate? Faith, patience, humility, understanding. I agree, Dulcie, it's outrageous, but for us, the wrap up message of this book, happiness and evolution and happiness, comes as a recommendation for Emmanuel so we can work on our trust in God, in our patience with ourselves and others, with our humility, because without God, we don't even exist. And if anything good happens, it comes from God and understanding.
Of course.
Of
Of course.
course,
Couldn't
right?
miss that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
understanding is everything. Thank you, Rudy, for your loving kindness. Yes, Rudy, we must all love ourselves. Thank you, Gabriel Inácio, also for your comments and for being with us. Laura, Cristosimo, and Dulce, and Orieta, friends, many friends who are here. What was the most important part for you in this book? Emmanuel is calling us to action. He's talking about from beginning to end, harvest of light, and he ends the book talking about cultivation. Everything Jesus said is about labor. It's like natural laboring inside of us. It's about cultivation. Let us be patient and cultivate inside of ourselves the needed understanding, seeking the good, feeling the
The
good,
good,
visualizing
visualizing
the
the
good,
good,
and
and
molding
molding
the
the
good
good
with
with
our
all the
resources
resources
we
we
have
have
at
at
hand.
hand.
Right?
Go, Emmanuel.
Go, Emmanuel. This is the concept of understanding. So, what happens next, right, Teresa Castro? Understanding.
Understanding. Yeah.
Exactly. What's going to happen next? Since he's talking about evolution and happiness, the next book we're going to study is Evolution in Two Worlds with André Luiz. Soon we're going to release the starting date. Just give us a day or two to catch our breath. And as soon as we know the date, I think I know already, but we want to confirm the date when we're going to start studying the book Evolution into Worlds with André Luiz, the Spirit, through the mediums, Chico, Xavier, and Valdo Vieira. That's the next book we're going to study, but be prepared because that one is going to rock the boat, right?
Right.
Yes, and Adilso is saying thanks to Carlos because
Yes, thanks to
he was the
Carlos.
main translator of the book Harvest of Light. We are very
Yes.
thankful to Carlos and to his loving help in this project. So, as you
Constant
already know,
dedication.
yes, the next is Evolution into Worms. Okay? So, now what do we wish for you? A lot of happiness
And understanding.
and love, right there.
Right?
Because all we need
It
is
is
love.
love.
Dun,
Da,
dun,
da,
dun,
da,
dun, dun.
da.
All
All
we
we
need
need
is
is
love.
love. Da,
Dun,
da,
dun,
da,
dun,
da,
dun,
da.
dun. All
All
we
we
need
need
is
is
love.
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 Love
Love
is
is
all
all
we
we
need.
need.
Da, da,
Da,
da, da,
da, da,
da. Da, 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 da. Okay, friends, you ready? Thank you, Celia Lancaster. And don't forget, thank you, Adele. Thank you, John De Rosa. Chris Anastasia, don't forget, friends, tomorrow at 11 a.m., we're going to give a course to those who are registered. If you still want to register, there's still time tonight at cardiacradio.com. Okay, thank you, Valéria
Thank you,
Benfica,
Valeria.
for being with us.
Yes.
And Sarah Oyeda, thank you for being with us as well. Jaime Ramirez, how are you? Karina
Hi,
Lisi,
Karina
yes,
Alice.
Karina. Sunshine with us, right? And I guess,
Beautiful.
yes, Leia Severo with us. Am I right? Leia,
Oh,
yes,
wow. Our
yes.
eternal family.
Eternal family here
Yes.
together. Elsa, thank you, Elsa
Hi.
Leal. So, friends, if you want to do the course on emotional empowerment, we still have spots available and you can register at cardiacradio.com. It's going to happen tomorrow, October 6th at 11 a.m. It's an online course from the School of Emotion to you, and neuroscience and psychology to bring new tools to live a better life. The whole
And
workshop is going to be a fundraiser for Kardec Radio because Kardec Radio uses so many platforms and it's worthwhile doing this. And Carol,
and it's a good way to practice Emmanuel's advice.
I guess so.
Understanding,
Understand,
cultivate understanding
standing,
and love.
and love.
There you go.
Love is in the air,
Perfect match.
right?
Yes.
Everywhere I look around, love is in the air, in every sight, in every sound. Friends, thank you so much. Many blessings. Thank you, Emmanuel. I know you are asking, can we say a prayer? I think so. Right, Carol?
Right.
Let us say a prayer and feel the love that comes from God, so we can wrap up in the highest tone by sending our gratitude to the loving Master who sent Emmanuel, Chico, Xavier, and many others to help us know of these messages that give us so much nourishment for our souls. You know, Kardec Radio is here to nourish our souls with spiritism, right?
Right.
So let us go. Let us feel the blessings that come with our loving Master. Thank you, Jesus, for teaching us to love. We know that we are far away from really grasping the whole concept of it, but we feel joyful, the joy and the hope and the courage to live this day and the days to come, whether incarnated or discarnated. We want to thank you for sending Emmanuel and Chico Xavier so we could be acquainted with so much truth. May they receive our deepest gratitude and the gratitude to all the loving spirits who guide our works at Kardec Radio, through all the hosts, the editors, the programming engineers, the whole team who helps us share this knowledge with the world. We thank you also for everybody who contributes with their presence, their knowledge, with their contributions, so we can be here tonight. We would like to pray for every country in the world. And we pray for decisions that are to be made in the next days, anywhere and everywhere. May we stay calm and peaceful, cultivating the needed faith, patience, humility, and understanding, and embrace love and the responsibility in the compliance with the laws of yours. We thank you for bringing us Spiritism, as in this week of the celebration of Kardec's birthday, we recognize his unique mission in bringing to us, with his courage and confidence and the love in his heart, the understanding that changes our life at every minute, for the bonds of affection that unite ourselves. We pray that everybody that is connected to us now, live or on demand, feel the blessings that you shower upon us. May we have the courage, the resilience, and the drive of love to spread the good news wherever we are. We thank you for your kindness, for your love, for your providence. And we pray that you give us strength and illumination to keep sharing these teachings with all. And so be it. Thank you, friends.
Thank
A big
you.
hug. Right, Carol?
Of course.
And a kiss. And until the next book, Evolution into Worlds. Yay! God willing, right, Carol?
Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.